If you're driving a 99 to 04 Ford Super Duty and you've installed larger wheels and tires and you're chewing up unit bearings, or maybe you've broken that cheap plastic front freewheeling hub that's on those trucks, a great upgrade is one of these Dynatrac Free-Spin Kits. Now what it is going to do is it's going to eliminate the unit bearing and replace it with a live spindle. That live spindle is going to be using 2 heavy-duty tapered roller bearings, a new outer stub shaft, and a new hub. And most importantly, it's going to convert it over to the Dynatrac freewheeling hub. This will eliminate the need to replace those expensive unit bearings. It's 100% ABS compatible, and it bolts right on. First step in installing this Free-Spin Kit is going to be to obviously jack up the truck, put it on a set of jack stands, and remove the tire and wheel. Now here's a tip for you. I like to do this on the floor, one side at a time, jacking up each side of the vehicle independent of each other. That will help prevent any fluid in the front axle from pouring out into the axle tube when you remove the axle shaft. Then you can remove the brake caliper and the rotor. There's 2 large 21mm bolts on the back side. Make sure that you either hang the caliper off of a zip tie or a clothes hanger, or find a place to basically set it. I set mine on the leaf spring so it's not suspended by the flex hose. Then you can unbolt the ABS sensor that's on the top of the unit bearing. It is a small 5mm Allen.
Making sure that you know why, because this is forever. And there will be no surrender.
One large snap ring and the factory freewheeling hub can be removed. And then there is a snap ring that retains the axle shaft inside the unit bearing. And then you just have to unbolt the unit bearing from the knuckle. There are 4 large nuts, 21mm in size, and it's hard to get an impact socket past the axle shaft into that knuckle. So quite often the best option is to use a chrome socket and some extensions and a little bit of muscle. You will have to move the steering all the way from lock to lock to gain access to all 4 nuts. Then you can straighten the steering wheel out and pull the unit bearing off.
Gosling hate gon' know that they gonna love me more when I'm gonna retire the throne. The kind of things that I'm gonna be feeling like a god, because this is forever. And there will be no surrender.
Another benefit of this Dynatrac Free-Spin Kit is that from the factory, the Super Duties in 99 to 04 used a small 30 spline outer stub, and we're going to be upgrading that to this much larger 35 spline outer stub, and this is 4340 chrome moly. Next step is to simply swap this stub shaft onto the axle, and this is a great time to inspect, and if you need to, replace your axle joints. These ones are in perfect shape, so I should be able to reuse them on the new stub.
This is forever, remember the legend, he never gonna die.
After the U-joint lock has been removed, you can simply hammer out the U-joint cap. Now be very careful when doing this that you don't lose all the needle bearings on the floor. It's a very common problem. So just take your time and make sure that you're keeping track of those caps as you remove them and set them aside. It's also a good time to throw a little extra grease in that U-joint while it's apart.
It's forever, you know, this right here forever. I am just leaving a legacy. I am the one that they paid us. Got something to say to me, say, you know I've been waiting so patiently. This is my legacy. Y'all don't believe me, they wait. Basically, I have been running things. You can just go on and take a seat. Yeah. Loving they hated me, put that on everything. Not on my level. You could be the enemy. This is the plan that we showing them anyway. Hit up the lawyers and give them the NDA. Woo. This is the brand new. This is the brand new. Nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. And there ain't no thing that you'll be taking from me, man. That came from nothing. Made it something. Name is buzzing. Call me Ryan Gosling. Hey, gon' know that they gonna love me more when I'm gonna retire the throne. The kind of things that I'm gonna be feeling like a god, because this is forever.
With the new outer stub shaft in place, I'm going to tap the U-joint caps onto the U-joint cross, and then I will press them into the ears of the axle shaft using my vise. Once they're all the way seated, I will reinstall the U-joint cap locks, and this axle shaft is ready to go back in.
Really, I never been better. Legacy, this is forever. Really, I never been better. Legacy, this is forever. Really, I never been better. The legacy live on forever. Yo, remember the legend and know that he never surrendered because this is forever.
The kit does come with a new dust seal that needs to be installed onto the outer axle stub. Simply hold the edges of the dust seal back and tap the metal ring onto the outer stub shaft before sliding the axle back into the housing.
You know, this life forever. No surrender. It's forever. You know, this life forever.
The retaining studs for the unit bearing need to be reused. It's a good idea to spray them with a little bit of penetrant oil before you remove them. And then you can use a process called double nutting. So you put one nut on and then another nut on against it, basically tighten them against each other, and they will work to pull the stud out of the unit bearing. Now, if the stud is stuck in the unit bearing, you can add a little bit of heat to get it moving. But remember, when it comes to adding heat to fasteners that you plan to reuse, you want to start with a low heat source. So I always start with a MAP gas torch. After reapplying red Loctite onto the threads of the studs, I will install them into the live spindle using the same process of using two nuts to make sure the stud is fully seated in place. After lubricating the needle bearing inside the spindle, it can be installed back onto the knuckle. Make sure to reinstall the dust shield that came off with the original unit bearing. After pulling the ABS sensor wire through the dust shield, you can install the sensor mounting block that's included with the kit. It keys into a small groove on the live spindle. So when you install that spindle, make sure the groove is at the 12 o'clock position. Then you install the small 12-point head fastener and use the factory bolt to bolt down the speed sensor. torque the spindle mounting nuts to 140 foot-pounds. Just like before, you're gonna have to turn the steering from lock to gain access to all 4 nuts. Pack the wheel bearings with some high quality, high temperature wheel bearing grease. Place the inner bearing into the hub along with the grease seal. Then you can press the wheel studs into the hub. The hub is then slid over the live spindle, followed by the outer bearing and the first retainer nut. The nut is tightened to 50 foot-pounds and then loosened 1/4 of a turn. The locking washer has holes in it. The hole has to go over the small pin that's on the interior nut that you just installed, and then the tab will line up with the groove in the spindle. If the pin doesn't line up, you have to loosen the nut on the inside. Now the outer nut can go on and be tightened. Because the washer is holding the inner nut and preventing it from turning, the outer nut can be tightened without fear of over-tightening the bearings. You're going to torque it to 70 foot-pounds. Then you can install the factory rotor and hold it in place with a couple of lug nuts. Set the caliper back over the rotor and you will see that there's a space between the caliper mounting holes and the ears on the knuckle. The kit's going to come with 2 different size spacers to go in between the caliper and the knuckle. Determine which spacer you need and install it. And then lastly, install the Dynatrac hubs.
You ain't giving this all, you steer clear. Never beat, I've been down and I reappear.
The Dynatrac hubs are a great upgrade for any axle. They are 3 times stronger than a factory hub. They are a lower profile design, and if something is to happen to these hubs and they do break, they default to the locked position, unlike a factory hub that defaults to unlocked. So in the case where you are working the axle incredibly hard and maybe you accidentally break a hub, guess what? You will still have 4-wheel drive on your truck, unlike factory hubs.
Ain't nowhere to hide. You ain't gotta see me come and keep me on your mind. Stop me on the way. Yeah. You know I be on the way. Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on the way. Yeah. I'm on the way. On the way. Yeah. On the way. I'm on the way. I'm on the way. That hurts, but it's checkmate. We ain't selling short, no to work.
Once one side is done, you simply have to repeat the entire process on the opposite side of the truck.
Yeah. You know I be on the way. Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on the way. Yeah, man, we coming for them bags. If they said I couldn't have, get the team. I got a vision for the things you ain't believe.
So now this truck has heavy-duty serviceable hubs up front with those large tapered roller bearings and an upgraded outer stub shaft thanks to that chrome moly 35 spline shaft. Now I did the job here in my shop, but I also did it on the floor to prove that you could easily do this at home in your home garage or your driveway. Probably take you all day to do it if it's your first one. Once you've done a few of these free spin kits, it's about an hour per side, and that is a small time investment for never having to buy a unit bearing again.
On the way.